The warm breath of summer carries more than just the scent of blooming herbs and sun-ripened fruits. It holds the promise of winter's comfort, neatly stacked and ready to warm hearts and homes alike. Eli Schenk often stands in the half-light of early morning, watching the gentle movements of Amos Hirschberger as he demonstrates the ancient rhythm of splitting wood. Amos's hands are steady, each swing of the axe deliberate, as if repeating a hymn passed down through countless seasons. Eli recalls the first time he held the axe under Amos's guidance, feeling the weight not just in his hands but in his spirit. The wood is chosen with care, oak for long-lasting heat, maple for quick flames. Amos points to a pile resting under the broad branches of a sycamore, where the dappled sunlight filters through the leaves, creating a shaded sanctuary. "Dryness is our friend," he says thoughtfully. "Wet wood only whispers of smoke without warmth." Silas Lapp, the elder and keeper of the village's practical wisdom, confirms this with a knowing smile. "Stack it well, Eli," he advises, "so that air may pass freely between each piece. A tight pile suffocates the wood, a loose one lets it breathe. The firewood is more than fuel. It is life patiently preserved, a treasure nurtured in the heart of summer for the bitter bite of winter." The art of drying wood is a delicate act, requiring a canvas of half-shadow beneath a sturdy roof or a crafted lean-to built by Malachi Zook, whose hands shape the forest's gifts into shelter and order. Malachi, with his quiet strength, explains the importance of protecting the wood from rain while allowing the summer breeze to chase away lingering moisture. His craftsmanship ensures the firewood stack sings with the whispers of air and sunlight, knitting the very elements of nature into a safeguard against the cold. To Ezra Baylor, the spiritual advisor of their congregation, reflects on this harmony. "In the splitting of wood, we mirror the breaking of burdens in our souls," Ezra says quietly. "The sound of the axe is our offering, the warmth that follows, a testament to our faith." Firewood, then, becomes a metaphor, each log a compassionate deed stacked against the chill. The long months of summer yield the fruits of diligence, and as snow clouds gather far beyond the horizon, the village's store of firewood stands as a bulwark against hardship. Silas Lapp's voice carries the weight of his years when he reminds Eli, "Those who labored in the sun need never dread the cold." This assurance springs not from mere pragmatism, but from lived truth embedded in every cracked log and carefully constructed pile. Amos Yoder, a guardian of tradition, often recounts tales of ancestors who shared fire on winter nights, proving that warmth is not simply about temperature, but about community and care woven through acts of preparation. "We are the keepers of this flame," Amos declares, "fire handed down, not just as heat but as heritage." Eli imagines the winters past and those yet to come, feeling a deep connection to the cycle embodied in wood, once a living tree dancing with sunlight and breeze, then carefully felled, split by hand, and arranged with intent. Each season becomes a verse in the ongoing song of existence, where patience and respect shape every moment. The hum of the village carries on in the background, the sharp crack of the axe, the rustle of leaves, and the quiet murmur of shared stories. As the day fades, Amos gathers Eli and Gideon beneath the wide eaves of the workshop, where Malachi checks their handiwork and Ezra offers a final blessing, reminding them that the warmth they have prepared in summer will carry them through many cold nights. This sacred preparation is not a solitary act, but a communal dance, linking hands and hearts across generations. In the stacking of firewood lie lessons as old as time, of tending the earth with humility, honoring the gifts bestowed, and living in harmony with the world's rhythm. The silence between the blows of the axe holds space for gratitude and hope, promising that no matter how fierce the winter, those who prepare with care shall find light and comfort. As shadows lengthen outside, Eli feels ready not only to face the coming frost, but to pass these teachings to those who will follow, weaving the wisdom of summer into the fabric of their lives. This nurturing cycle flows seamlessly into the next chapter of their story, where the fruits of their labor begin to warm both hearth and heart. The art of seasoning firewood for winter warmth. The cool breeze swept gently across the open porch where Amos Hirschberger sat, his seasoned hands resting comfortably on his knees. He looked toward the small group gathered before him, including Eli Shank, whose eager eyes betrayed the anticipation common in youth. Beside Eli stood Gideon Stoltzfus, the diligent helper, whose efforts grew steadier under Amos's careful watch. "Have you all begun preparing your firewood for many cold evenings ahead?" Amos asked softly, each word measured with patient kindness. The question hung warmly in the air as Silas Lapp, the elder of the community, nodded silently from a distance, appreciating the tradition being passed along once again. Amos's voice became a gentle thread weaving through the crowd. The art of drying firewood cannot be rushed. It takes time to transform freshly chopped logs into fuel that will burn bright and warm through long winter nights. Eli listened intently, noting every nuance. Proper seasoning means placing wood where it catches dappled sunlight, sheltered from rain, but allowed to breathe. A simple lean-to roof supported by sturdy beams is best, helping wood avoid dampness that we cannot afford in the cold months. Gideon straightened, taking mental notes to apply to their family's woodpile. Amos continued, "The wood sits quietly in stacks, arranged with care. Air flows freely between the logs because those gaps prevent rot and promote drying. It is not merely chopping and piling. This labor is a sacred ritual, a prayer made with each swing of the axe." He glanced at Eli, who seemed to absorb every word, as if ancient secrets were being entrusted to him. When you split the wood, you are not just preparing fuel, you are crafting warmth for your home. Each piece is part of a legacy, carrying comfort from generation to generation. Amos's eyes twinkled gently as Ezra Byler approached, his role as spiritual advisor evident in his calm demeanor. Ezra added, "It is said the warmth provided by well-seasoned firewood mirrors the warmth of good deeds done throughout the year. Just as firewood burns slowly to offer steady heat, so kindness carried quietly in the heart sustains us in times of hardship." The words seemed to settle deeply within the group, framing their physical toil as a sacred service. The next day, under Amos Yoder's watchful guidance, Eli and Gideon ventured into the woods with axes and saws. While Malachi Zook, the skilled carpenter, known for his precision, doubled as a mentor for shaping wood for tools, Amos focused on the firewood's purpose. "Remember," Amos whispered, as he demonstrated the rhythm of chopping, "the wood listens to your spirit. The axe chisels, not just the log, but communicates patience and respect." Eli tried to mimic the seasoned motions, feeling a solemn connection to the natural world and his ancestors. Back at the homestead, the freshly split logs were gathered and stacked. Amos Hirschberger insisted on neatness, teaching them to arrange the wood so the smallest pieces formed the foundation and larger logs rested atop. "This way," he explained patiently, "rainwater runs off cleanly and air circulates underneath, hastening the drying." Gideon struggled at times, but felt encouraged by Amos's gentle corrections and encouraging smiles. The summer sun marked the passing days, and the pile of drying wood grew tall beside the barn. From time to time, Ezra visited the site, feeling a quiet blessing spread over the work. "The wood's readiness foretells our ability to endure," Ezra mused thoughtfully. "Just as it wards off the biting cold, the effort we make in harmony with Earth's rhythm strengthens our spirit." His reflections echoed the community's belief in living in peace with nature's cycles. One afternoon, Amos shared stories from his own youth when winters were harsh and firewood often ran short due to misunderstandings of this sacred art. Only those who prepared wisely in summer faced frost with calm hearts, he recounted softly, a faraway glint in his eyes. Eli found inspiration in this wisdom and began to view woodcutting through a lens colored by reverence and hope. He and Gideon worked side by side, their fellowship deepening amid the stack of drying logs. Malachi, ever the craftsman, contributed his skills by fashioning sturdy racks, sheltering the wood from unexpected storms. "A well-built shelter is like a guardian for your flame to come," he said with quiet pride. This practical knowledge blended seamlessly with Amos's spiritual teachings, reinforcing that tending firewood is both a physical and a soulful endeavor. As summer turned gently toward autumn, the scent of drying pine and oak grew stronger. The community gathered occasionally to check progress, sharing laughter and tales while appreciating the steadfastness etched into each log. Eli now understood that the season's work extended beyond labor. Each pile was a symbol of security, patience, and loving care passed through time. The flame to come was nurtured long before the first snow drifted softly on the fields. Silas Lapp, observing the vibrant lessons unfolding among the youth, remarked quietly, "This is the wisdom of the ages, to see how the young shepherd the old ways, ensuring our life continues prospering with nature's quiet heartbeat." These words carried weight, affirming the deep connection between past and future generations, all united in their reliance on the woodpiles standing ready under welcoming skies. Evenings at the homestead became moments of reflection as the last sharp edges of summer softened. Amos Hirschberger's gentle guidance had transformed ordinary tasks into profound acts. The firewood, stacked methodically in shaded racks, awaited its purpose, to liberate warmth on the coldest nights and to carry the spirit's quiet flame. By honoring nature and embracing patience, the community prepared not just for winter's chill, but for life itself. As the first autumn leaves began to fall, Eli and Gideon paused by the woodpile, feeling a shared reverence that reached beyond mere survival. Their hands were calloused but steady, their minds filled with tales of ancestors who had taught them to listen to the whisper of trees and the song of the wind. In this enduring rhythm, they recognized the sacred trust that heat and light deserved, the summoning of summer's efforts into shielding winter's long nights. With the foundation laid by careful preparation and ancestral wisdom, the community stood ready to face the cold season with confidence and grace. The act of splitting and curing firewood had become a meditation on life itself, the slow cultivation of strength, the nourishment of heart, and the blessing of continuity. This understanding would soon lead them naturally into the next phase of their yearly rhythm, embracing the arrival of frost with open arms and warm fires. Firewood as a metaphor for good deeds and faith. The sun hung low in the sky as Eli Shank stood by the woodpile, the scent of fresh pine mingling with the earthy aroma of late summer. "Have you begun preparing firewood for the cold months ahead?" he gently inquired, his voice carrying the calm assurance of one who had performed this sacred task many times before. Around him, the bustle of the Amish homestead unfolded, with Gideon Stoltzfus eagerly snapping twigs and feeding the woodpile under the watchful gaze of Silas Lapp, the elder who carried the weight of communal history. It was not mere labor, it was a timeless ritual woven into the fabric of their lives. Amos Hirschberger, the wise mentor whose years had taught him the language of trees and seasons, stepped forward. "Remember, Eli," he began pensively, "drying the wood properly is as important as the chopping itself. We place it in the half-shade, sheltered from rain beneath sturdy roofs made by Malachi Zook, whose hands craft more than homes. They preserve the sheltering spirit of our faith." His words drifted like a gentle breeze through the yard. Firewood must not be stacked openly where sun beats down harshly, nor left to fester in dampness. The aim is to invite the slow dance of air and warmth, coaxing the wood's soul away from moisture and toward readiness. As Eli carefully demonstrated the ideal splits with his axe, each stroke was deliberate and measured. "This is no ordinary work," he explained. "It is prayer enacted through movement. Feel the rhythm of the blades, hear the crack as the timber parts, and know that this task is a conversation with nature and our ancestors." Amos Yoder, the keeper of traditions, nodded in agreement. To him, the sturdy bundle of firewood was a symbol, much like the kind acts we do quietly in our communities. They may go unnoticed, yet nourish the spirit when the cold wind blows, much like the flames they kindle in the hearth. Ezra Byler, whose voice carried the soft resonance of spiritual guidance, gathered the younger men beneath the maple tree. "Think of firewood as good deeds that warm others when days grow dark and long. Each log stored today is a testament of our faith and care. The winter will come, as it always does. It is not a threat, but a reminder of our preparation and steadfast hearts." His gentle conviction wrapped around them as surely as the shawls their mothers knit. It was a moment of shared understanding transcending mere necessity. It was a passage of wisdom and warmth. At the edge of the field, the young apprentice Gideon struggled with a stubborn knot in a log. Malachi approached with a calm patience that softened the boy's frustration. "The wood teaches us patience," the master carpenter said softly. "Just as each plank we shape holds its story, so too do these logs carry the lessons of summer's labor and autumn's quiet waiting. In every chip and split, there is a memory of a day spent in harmony with God's creation." Gideon's eyes brightened, the weight of his frustration lifted by the gentle words of experience. Silas, ever watchful and steadfast, reflected aloud, "When winter's bite arrives, no chill can reach the home that has prepared its hearth. It is the warmth built on the back of summer's sweat and the steady hands of those who honor the land. We do not fear frost or storm, for our labors have become shields, keeping our families safe and hearts full." His voice carried the depth of generations who trusted the cycle of seasons and the quiet promise of a fire well tended. The process itself brought a sacred rhythm, cutting, stacking, drying, each step infused with reverence. Amos Hirschberger had once explained that the physicality of splitting logs mirrored the breaking open of the Spirit's reserves in prayer. The effort was never wasted. It sustained more than bodies. It sustained souls through the coldest nights. Eli often thought about this as he arranged the piles beneath the broad eaves, the beams crafted by Malachi holding guard against rain and snow, ensuring each log's steady renewal by sun and breeze. Ezra's analogy took root deeper still. "Good deeds," he said, "are like firewood stored carefully. They lie hidden until darkness calls them forth." He reminded them that every act of kindness collected in the summer of life's abundance would burn brightly, casting light and warmth through the icy grip of hardship. In this way, the household's chores became acts of faith, and the land itself seemed to sing along with their hymns sung in sweat and silence. As the days shortened and the temperature began its quiet descent, the community's gathering around the fire grew more than just a necessity. It became a sacred hour, a sharing of stories, laughter, and warmth that extended beyond the glow of flames. Eli watched as Malachi passed around a freshly carved wooden cup, the result of careful craftsmanship. Each sip shared amongst them a reminder of their connectedness. Here, amidst the rising smoke and crackling wood, the past met the future in harmony. The teachings of Amos Yoder were never far from their minds. "Remember," he would say, "to treat the wood and all the fruits of the earth with respect. This is more than mere survival. It is a covenant. Our hands are given to work in partnership with God's creation to tend the earth and prepare for what may come. The warmth of a fire is as sacred as the love that built it and as steady as the faith within each heart." Such words encouraged even young Gideon to see himself as a vital part of this continuum. Silas often recounted how, in years past, poor preparation led to hardship in winter, chilling homes and souls alike. But with time and tradition firmly held, Each log stacked in the cool shade under Malachi's roof, they had transformed that uncertainty into peace. "It is the blessing of work done with intention," he said quietly. "A blessing passed down, like a lantern carried from hand to hand." Eli found comfort in these stories, understanding that the firewood was a bridge between generations, a testament to endurance and love. They all recognized that the season's labor mirrored the spiritual discipline taught by Ezra Beeler during their communal prayers. Just as prayer demands constancy and faith, so does the stewardship of their land and woodpile, persistent, patient, and purposeful. The cyclical nature of cutting and stacking only re-emphasized a deeper truth. Life's warmth is earned through care and respect for the gifts given by the Creator and nurtured by the hands of family and community. Eli's hands, now roughened and calloused, felt the smooth grain of a log one last time before placing it atop the growing stack. With every piece, he recalled the gentle wisdom of his mentors and the perseverance of folks like Gideon growing into their roles. It was in this daily rhythm that he found profound peace, a sturdy foundation upon which life's seasons balanced gently. The firewood was more than wood. It was faith, hope, and kindness bound together in a humble yet powerful act. As twilight settled, the homestead glowed with the quiet promise of warmth. The logs, dried slowly under the protective eaves and shaded afternoon light, waited patiently for their moment to kindle life within the hearth. This careful preparation was a sacred trust, one that Eli understood intimately. It was the labor that transformed nature's gifts into blessings and the work of hands into prayers that would carry the family through the darkest nights with love and light. The circle of care extended beyond the individual. Amos Hirschberger and Amos Yoder ensured the practice was never forgotten, while Malachi's craftsmanship protected the precious wood from the elements. Silas's stories anchored the community's resolve. Ezra's spiritual counsel uplifted their spirits. Together, they sustained a cycle of respect, work, and faith, cultivating a life that cherished the natural world as much as the family hearth. In this gentle labor, Eli found the essence of their way of life. He smiled softly as Silas began to share another tale of winter's past, a story to keep firewood and all it symbolized alive in memory. And as the stars emerged, the lessons carried forward in the soft murmur of voices and the steady crackle of wood promised that none would face winter unprepared, nor without the warm company of hearts connected by shared purpose. Thus, as the woodpile grew under the watchful hands of many, it stood not just as preparation for cold days, but as a testament to human kindness. To Eli, the act of chopping and stacking was an offering, a prayer made manifest in steady, caring labor. Firewood was faith made tangible, the light that warmed more than body, reaching deep into the soul and binding one generation to the next in an unbroken chain of love and duty. With winter's approach, this knowledge was a steady flame, a quiet confidence kindled by summer's toil. And as Eli prepared to teach the next generation this sacred craft, he felt the enduring strength of their heritage settle around him like a comforting cloak. This was how they lived, in harmony with the earth's gifts, with mindful hands and hearts full of grace, forever warmed by the fire they tended together. The journey continued, inviting all who listened to carry the torch forward.